Women don't get their hearts broken by men first. They break their own hearts by believing in fairy tales. I know that stings, but sit with it for a second. Because for so many women, heartbreak doesn't start the day he lies, cheats, or walks away. It starts much earlier, in the stories we tell ourselves about who he is, who he could be, and what our love might magically transform him into. From the time we were little girls, we were sold the same script. Prince Charming will come. He'll rescue you. He'll complete you. And once he shows up, the credits roll, the music swells, and you live happily ever after. It's a beautiful story, but it's also one of the most dangerous lies women grow up believing. Because here's the reality. Prince Charming doesn't exist. He never did. Men aren't here to rescue you, complete you, or transform your life into some Disney ending. And when you carry that illusion into adulthood, you don't just set yourself up for disappointment, you set yourself up for destruction. Think about it. How many times have you ignored the evidence in front of you because the fantasy felt better? He's inconsistent, but you tell yourself he's just busy. He's disloyal, but you convince yourself you'll be the one who changes him. He's emotionally unavailable, but you script a whole future wedding in your head anyway. Ladies, that's not love. That's self-sabotage dressed up as hope. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Heartbreak hurts most not because he betrayed you, but because the story you created in your own head collapsed. You weren't just grieving him. You were grieving the castle, the crown, the happily ever after that never existed outside your imagination. I know this feels heavy, but let me be clear. This isn't about blaming women. It's about breaking a cycle that's been programmed into us since childhood. A cycle that teaches us to look outward for validation instead of inward for power. Because when you give away your power to a fantasy, you stop seeing reality. You stop trusting your gut. You silence the part of you that whispers, something's off, just so you can keep the illusion alive. And that's how you create your own heartbreak, before he even has the chance to do it for you. So here's my promise. By the end of this video, you'll see heartbreak differently. You'll realize it's not just about him lying, betraying, or cheating. It's about the lies we tell ourselves, the lies that keep us stuck in relationships that drain us, in patterns that break us, in fairy tales that destroy us. This is your wake-up call. Prince Charming isn't coming. And that's the best news you'll ever hear. Because once you let go of the fairy tale, you finally start writing a story that's real, a story where you are the heroine, not the victim. Every heartbreak has a setup, and in most cases that setup isn't him. It's the story you wrote in your head before he ever proved himself. Women don't just fall in love with men, they fall in love with potential. Think about it. He's charming, he's fun, maybe he has some ambition, but his actions, they're inconsistent. He doesn't follow through. His history shows a trail of broken promises, failed relationships, or worse, women warning you about him. But instead of taking those results as facts, you write a brand new fairy tale. He just hasn't met the right woman yet. I'll be the one who inspires him to change. I'm different, so he won't treat me the way he treated them. Let's be real. How many times have you told yourself that exact story? That's not love. That's hope dressed up as denial. It's the same as buying a car with a blown engine and saying, once it's mine, it'll magically fix itself. You drive it off the lot knowing full well it's broken, but you convince yourself that somehow your love, your patience, your effort will be the mechanic that makes it run smoothly. And when it breaks down, you don't blame the car. You blame yourself. Maybe I didn't try hard enough. Maybe I didn't love him the right way. Maybe I should have stayed longer, ladies. Listen. The car was broken before you ever got in. The man was showing you his results long before you fell for his potential. The psychology behind this is powerful. Women are wired, socially and emotionally, to be nurturers, to believe in growth, healing, and second chances. Society celebrates the idea of the woman who saved him. We cheer for the ride or die, the one who stayed through the storm and transformed her man into a king. But here's the reality. If he doesn't want to change for himself, he won't change for you, ever. That's the trap. You don't fall in love with who he is. You fall in love with who you think he could become. And every time you ignore the evidence in front of you, you're investing in a future that only exists in your imagination. And let me tell you why that's so dangerous. Because when the fantasy falls apart, you don't just lose him, you lose the version of him you created in your mind. That's why it hurts so deeply. You're grieving the man he never was, the relationship that never existed, and the future you built entirely on hope. Here's the truth. Potential isn't proof. Patterns are. Results are. If a man has shown you that he's inconsistent, disloyal, or emotionally unavailable, that is who he is until he decides to be different. So let me ask you, are you falling for his reality, or are you just addicted to the fairy tale you've written about him? Because the answer to that question determines whether you're walking into love or straight into heartbreak. Here's the brutal truth. Most women don't get blindsided by heartbreak. They walk themselves into it, and the trap looks the same almost every time. First, you ignore the red flags. He cancels plans last minute. He avoids hard conversations. His words don't line up with his actions. And instead of confronting reality, you make excuses for him. He's just stressed. He's just not used to real love. He'll come around. Number. Red flags don't turn green just because you decide to look at them through rose-colored glasses. Then comes the next step. Romanticizing toxic patterns. He's hot and cold. You call it passion. He withdraws emotionally. You call it mystery. He comes back after disappearing. You call it chemistry. But let's call it what it really is. Inconsistency, avoidance, and manipulation. That's not romance. That's dysfunction. And here's where it gets even more dangerous. You start projecting fantasies. You didn't fall for him. You fell for the story you told yourself about him. Let me repeat that. You didn't fall for him. You fell for the story you told yourself about him. Because here's the thing. He told you who he was. He showed you who he was. You just didn't believe him. If he cheated on his last 3 girlfriends, why would you be different? If he openly admits he's not ready for commitment, why do you think you'll be the one to make him ready? If he disrespects his ex, talks down to his mother, or lies to his friends, why do you think he'll treat you like a queen? The trap is this. Women think they're in love with a man, but what they're really in love with is a narrative, a fairy tale they've written in their own minds, a version of him that doesn't actually exist. And when the real man shows up, the inconsistent, unavailable, or toxic man, you feel betrayed. But the betrayal isn't just his, it's yours. Because you betrayed yourself by refusing to believe what was right in front of you. That's the hardest pill to swallow. The heartbreak isn't just about what he did. It's about the fact that you ignored your own gut. silenced your own intuition, and chose the fantasy over the facts. You didn't fall for him. You fell for the story you told yourself about him. And until you own that, you'll keep falling into the same trap with different men, over and over again. So let me ask you, are you truly heartbroken over him? Or are you heartbroken over the fairy tale you created in your head? Because once you answer that question honestly, you'll finally see the trap for what it is, and you'll finally know how to escape it. Let's talk about what really happens when you keep living in the fairy tale. Because there are consequences, heavy ones. When you choose the illusion over reality, you don't just risk heartbreak, you sign up for it. The first consequence? You stay too long. You stay in relationships that drain you, break you, and strip you of your joy because you keep waiting for the plot twist that never comes. You're holding on, thinking, if I just love him harder, if I just stay patient, he'll become the man I know he can be. But here's the truth. Every extra month, every extra year you invest in a man who's already shown you his results, you're not just waiting for him, you're wasting yourself. The second consequence, you start shrinking. You make yourself smaller so the relationship doesn't feel so heavy. You silence your needs, dim your light, lower your standards, all in the name of keeping the peace. You think if you bend enough, break enough, sacrifice enough, maybe the fairy tale will finally come true. But it never does. And now you're left looking in the mirror at a woman you barely recognize. And then comes the ugliest part. You feed dysfunction. You normalize toxic love. You start believing that chaos is chemistry, that pain is passion, that inconsistency is just part of the story. And before you know it, dysfunction feels like home. That's the real heartbreak. Not just losing him, losing you. Here's the hard truth. You become the author of your own heartbreak novel. And the worst part, you keep rereading the same chapter with different men. The faces change, the names change, but the story stays the same. He promises. He fails. You forgive, you wait. He disappoints, you hurt. And you keep turning the page hoping for a new ending, when in reality, you're trapped in a loop. The same fairy tale turning into the same nightmare over and over again. And let me give you the imagery straight. Fairy tales look magical in the beginning. Castles, crowns, happily ever afters. But when you wake up in reality, the castle is crumbling, the crown is fake, and the happily ever after is just you crying yourself to sleep, wondering how you ended up here again. That's the cost of living in the illusion. You trade your power for fantasy. You trade your reality for a role in a story that was never meant for you. And the question you have to ask yourself is this: how many more times are you willing to reread the same heartbreak chapter before you decide to close the book? Because until you do, the consequences won't stop. The fairy tale won't save you, and the nightmare will keep repeating. Here it is, your wake-up call. If you've been living in the fairy tale, if you've been choosing men for their potential instead of their reality, if you've been rereading the same heartbreak chapter over and over again, it's time to put the book down. Because let me tell you something. Potential is not proof. Hope is not evidence, and love is not enough to transform a man who doesn't want to transform himself. You've got to stop falling for potential and start judging results. If a man has shown you inconsistency, that's his result. If a man has shown you betrayal, that's his result. If a man has shown you that he cannot or will not show up for you, that is his result. Stop trying to rewrite it. Stop trying to dress it up. Stop trying to imagine him into being more than what he has already proven to be. Here's the shift you need to make. Stand in your power, not in your fantasy. Your power says, I see you clearly, and I will choose accordingly. Your fantasy says, I see the red flags, but I'll ignore them because I believe in what you could be. And let me tell you this, when you choose fantasy over power, you always lose. But when you choose power over fantasy, you always win. Because even if the man walks away, you keep yourself. So how do you break the spell? It starts with self-inventory. You ask yourself the hard questions. What am I choosing, and what does it feed in me? Am I choosing love, or am I choosing brokenness? Am I standing in my truth, or am I hiding in my illusion? Because once you answer those questions honestly, you'll see exactly why you've been attracting the same kind of man, the same kind of pain, and the same kind of heartbreak. But here's the good news. The moment you wake up, the moment you break the spell, everything changes. You stop waiting for a man to rescue you because you realize you were never the damsel in distress. You were the heroine the whole time. You stop shrinking to fit someone else's potential because you realize your worth doesn't need to be proven by fixing him. And you stop rereading the same chapter because you finally decide to write a new book. So let me leave you with this. The fairy tale isn't coming to save you, but that's the best news of all. Because the real story, the one where you reclaim your power, protect your peace, and build love on truth instead of fantasy, that story starts with you. And if you're ready to write that story, you're in the right place. This channel is a community of women breaking free from illusions and taking their power back. So make sure you subscribe, join the conversation, and step fully into the woman you were always meant to be.
Like and subscribe.